a very rare thing.
Was your dad a musician?
No, he sang a little bit at church.
Right.
And they just was into music really heavy. So to answer your question, was our house was filled with joy. People would come over all the time. Our house was always crowded, and we had the fun house. So, you know, up until that point, you know, I didn't really suspect anything. I thought it would be like that for the rest of my life.
Your dad was working, your mom was working. Were people home with you during the day, or were you pretty much on your own?
Yeah, pretty much on my own. Yeah.
You think you were angry about that?
I didn't realize it, but looking back on it, I probably was a little angry about it.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
I mean, when you're left alone all the time, and you're like, where is everyone? I mean, you have brothers and sisters.
Yeah.
How many do you have?
I'm the youngest. I have 2 sisters and 1 brother.
Yeah, but even when you have that and your parents aren't home, there's got to be some anger brewing. And even though it's the party house and it seems like it's filled with a lot of love, you got to be saying to yourself, where the hell's the love from me? Where is everybody?
Right.
I mean, you understand now as an adult they had to work and do their thing, but it probably seemed to you like you were being ignored.
Right.
Yeah. And so then all of a sudden at 12, your dad just comes in and announces he's leaving?
Well, he didn't announce it. Because I found out what really happened. His brother had gotten killed. And
what were the circumstances of that?
Life in, urban areas.
He was shot in a violent
got stabbed, actually.
Like stabbed in a fight?
Yeah.
Wow.
And it really sent him into a spiral. And then he would go out and look for the guy. And
were you scared out of your mind? Your dad was
I didn't
going
know.
up?
I didn't know.
You didn't know.
And my mom would tell him, you know, you have a family here. You can't go out there and do something to somebody or to get something done to you. Then what about your son? Yada, yada, yada. And he couldn't deal with that sort of, that pain. And it was like, almost a split. It was between his brother and his family.
Right.
Which was his blood as well. So it was like really traumatizing to him. And he never was the same after that. But I didn't know this growing up.
Right, you just didn't know what was going on.
So I just know he left.
He left, and did he have any? Was he a visiting dad, or he just gone? He was gone.
No, he's gone. Yeah,
gone.
Yeah.
Oh my God! Does your mother spend every day crying? I mean, my husband's gone.
Nah, my mother's.
She's strong.
Oh yeah, super strong. Yeah.
But she had to be. I mean, was
I'm sure she cried behind closed doors.
Was she? But I know your dad was like was he still close by in a sense? Like was he living in Brooklyn?
You're about 15 minutes away in Sumner Projects.
Isn't that nuts?
Yeah.
But you had no idea.
Well, I knew. Yeah.
But didn't he want to say? I mean, did you ever say? I know you reconciled with your dad at some point. But this was how many years ago did you reconcile? This is before the death of your father, right?
Yeah, yeah.
When you reconcile with him, this is after you're famous and everything.
Yeah.
Is that bittersweet because now you're this big, rich, successful guy?
No, because it was, it was like Black Album time. So I had dropped about 7 albums. It wasn't like he saw me make a little bit of money and ran to the money. It wasn't that. It was he was still who he was.
He put it out there that he wanted to reconcile with you.
My mom actually made it happen. Thank you.
That's pretty big of your mother to make it happen.
Yeah, I tell you, she's super strong. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, aren't you kind of freaked out by that your mother was strong enough to say go have a relationship even though it's too late to go see your father?
Yeah, the first meeting he didn't show up and I knew he wouldn't, and I told her, I was like, he's not going to show up, because we've had that happen,
you set up a meeting with him and he just doesn't come.
Yeah.
Talk about abandonment.
Yeah. So
how do you know he was forgive me for interrupting, but how do you know he's not going to show up ahead of time? How do you know that?
I've been through that. We've seen this movie happen. In my mind, I said, we've seen this movie happen a million times. This is what I'm telling my mom. We've seen this movie before, but okay. We set up the first meeting. He doesn't come.
Is that emasculating for you? Does that just cut your manhood off? Because it's almost like, how the man treats the woman bad? Now he's treating his son like the woman?
No, I
ain't going to show up.
I pretty much had built up a wall to that sort of emotion.
Right.
Which was not healthy, but, I built up a wall to it.
Yeah, but by the same token, it sort of shows you, well, the money doesn't mean anything.
No, I didn't. No, I didn't. Not to him.
This guy doesn't change for any reason.
Which made me respect him.
Yeah.
In an odd way.
Yeah.
So you hadn't seen him all those years. Now you're already, you got hit albums, all that stuff. The reconciliation or the meeting is set up. What do you go into that meeting with? Do you go in with, I'm going to tell him off, or I'm just going to try and understand? Or what do you go into that meeting with?
I went in with a lot of anger, thinking, yes, I'm going to tell him off, and it didn't happen like that.
Well, what happened when he walked in the room? Did he look the way you thought he'd look?
Yeah, he was very, very, yeah.
Do you remember him being this big, strong guy, and then all of a sudden walks in a frail old man?
No, he was actually very tall, strong man. Like, I had no idea that he would die like the next month. He was like very tall, looked healthy.
What did he die from?
He had a bad liver from drinking and doing other things to his liver his whole entire life.
Did he know he was sick?
Yeah.
Did he tell you he was sick, or he didn't want to even discuss it with you?
We didn't discuss it. We had so much to discuss that day.
Did your father ever get the guy who killed his brother?
No.
Never caught him?
No. I wouldn't tell you that on this program.
Well, he's gone.
The honest truth is he's gone. The honest truth
you can't go to jail now.
The honest truth is no. Yeah.
Wouldn't that be a cool movie? You go to get the guy who killed his brother. Like, you take it on. Like, it just keeps going and going and going.
I mean, you know.
Yeah, who knows?
Maybe he did.
Maybe you did. Maybe you took care of it. You know what? I don't think you would. No. You weren't that close with your father. And yet, isn't it weird how you always still look for your father? It's like a hole in your heart. Right? You can't, maybe you can't, you couldn't probably go on and be a good married man if you didn't fix the hole in your heart about your father. Am I correct?
I couldn't, absolutely.
Right? You couldn't stay in a marriage if you're sitting there thinking all the time, my father left me, this one left me.
Well,
my wife's going to leave me.
You don't even get to that point because you don't allow yourself. Because once that's happened to you, like your father growing up, he's like Superman to you.
Yes.
So he's everything.
Right.
So once you feel that sort of hurt, you never allow yourself to get close to that feeling. You don't even want to feel that good because you know the flip side of that. So you don't let anyone get that close so they won't hurt you.
Have you ever been in therapy?
No.
You seem to be pretty self-realized. Reading in your book, you seem to have a good understanding of the hurt and the pain and everything. You're able to feel it. But don't you think that's something you need to talk to someone about before?
I've spoken to the world about it.
But wait a second. Before you become a father yourself, and before you even got married, didn't you want to sit down with someone and say, shit, how much is this going to affect my relationships with everyone? How am I going to stay focused on one woman? How am I going to not get over the fear that someone's going to leave me?
Well, I've been dealing with that my entire life, and I've been dealing with that through my music. So, you think and I deal
enough?
with that daily. Yeah. I don't see, I got 1 million therapists.
You think? You think that's really therapy?
Yes, of course. Of course. Imagine making that sort of listen to these albums, read those songs, read the level of like you said, self-realization and all the things that I've been through. All that therapy is in that music.
Do you think you have to be super intelligent to come to that realization on your own without the help of a...
I think you have to want to know about yourself. You don't have to be super intelligent. I don't consider myself super intelligent. I never graduated from college. I never graduated from high school.
I find it very hard to self-analyze. There are a lot of things in my life I don't want to look at. I need somebody to sit there and push me. That's why I'm in analysis.
You either make albums or go sit with a therapist.
But look what I do for a living. I sit here every day. I'm honest. I'm honest with my audience. I talk about it, but I made a joke out of a lot of things that were serious.
That's a form of therapy.
I guess so. So when you finally get in the room with your dad, all these years of hurt, anger, I mean, look at how you acted out. You did a lot of things to hurt yourself. You went out, you were dealing crack. You could have ended up in jail your whole life. You were in a lot of dangerous situations. You got all this anger. You sit down with him. You're prepared to tell him off. In walks this guy. You don't even know that he's going to die a month later, but you stand there. What do you say to this guy?
Just the whole, my entire life of pain and the things I went through, I got to express them to him and express them in a way that was freeing to me.
What did he say to all this? Did he apologize?
He tried at first he tried to, he's stubborn. He's a very stubborn man. He tried to hold on to it and said, you know where I was. It was right up the street. And I was like, I was a child.
Yeah, right.
Like, I shouldn't have to go find my father. Like, I'm a child. Like, and then after those words were said to him, then he dealt with it in a real way. And it,
you mean the man says to you,
me to forgive him.
The man says to you, well, you could have come see me. I was right up the block, which is a ridiculous statement.
Yeah, it was, but it was a defense mechanism. It was his own stubbornness kicking in. That he was fighting me. He was fighting. He didn't want to let the truth get all the way in because he knew it was painful.
Did you end up hugging him?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Big step. Did you see him again after that, or was that it?
He had passed a month later.
So you never saw him within that month's time?
No.
Wow.
Yeah.
Crazy stuff.
Did he reach out, or was his death even a surprise to him? Did he die suddenly, or was he able to?
He knew he was sick, and he chose to still drink and smoke. And
he went out his way. How old was he when he died?
Oh man, a fairly young man, about 54.
Wow.
50. 5.
Growing up all those years, you ever send your birthday card ever reach out to you whatsoever?